Hey, what's up, fellas? How you doing? Man, Antonelli here.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How we doing? Man, Antonelli here. Today, we're talking about the time that I big leagued a Hall of Famer, Reggie Jackson. Before we get into that, today's video is sponsored by Rocket Sports. Rocket makes top quality baseball gear and equipment. We use a bunch of their stuff for our Antonelli baseball teams. I highly recommend you go and check them out. Check the description box below. Click the link there. It's going to take you over to their site. You're going to get 15% off of your first order. So definitely go and check that out. Okay, my Reggie Jackson story. So I have told this story one time in the past, but I didn't put up the pictures. Okay, and a lot of people, I think that they think that I'm lying about this story, which this would be a pretty elaborate story to completely make up, okay? So today, we're gonna show the pictures, okay? And I'm gonna retell the story for anyone that has not heard it before, okay? So let's go in the Wayback Machine, way back to when I was a little kid. I don't remember how old I was, but I was very little. You'll see in the picture, right? So I'm this little leaguer, not even little leaguer probably yet. And my dad takes me out to the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York, okay? So we're going out there, we're going to check out the museum and everything, the Hall of Fame, we're going to watch a game out there. We're staying in the hotel. We get in the elevator, okay? We go down to the bottom, we get out, and my dad says, you know, hey, that was Reggie Jackson. Like, and I don't even know who Reggie Jackson really is, but he says, that's this Reggie Jackson Hall of Famer. Like, here, go get his autograph. So he gives me a ball. And so I just, okay, fine, I don't know. So I run out to find Reggie Jackson to go grab him. I said, Mr. Jackson, could I have your autograph? And he says, sorry, kid, you know, I don't give autographs for free. You got to pay for them. And so I was like, I'm 7, I don't know. I don't have any money. So, so I'm like, okay. So I walk away. I go back to my dad, and my dad's like, let me see the ball. And I go, he wouldn't sign for me. He told me that he doesn't sign autographs for free. And my dad was like, excuse me? So he got really upset, and grabbed me, and he's like, let's go. And we run over, and we try to chase down Reggie Jackson. Again, Reggie Jackson, I don't know, he's a Hall of Fame player. I know I already said that, but the guy is like, you know, he's a very, very famous baseball player. I'm sure anyone watching this channel probably knows who Reggie Jackson is, okay? He's a straw that stirs the drink. I think that's what he said. But anyways, so we go and we chase him down, and my dad's like really not very happy right now, and he's like, Mr. Jackson, you know, if you won't sign an autograph for my son, at least take a picture. And he like takes me and he throws me in next to, he doesn't even like let him, I don't think, like say like, oh yeah, sure, I'll take a picture. He like, throws me into the, next to him, and I'm like sitting there, and my dad just holds up his camera like the old school thing. You got to go back in this like 20 years, no, more than 20 years ago, like almost 25 years ago. And he holds the picture up and he takes the picture, okay. So I holds the camera up. So I got a picture of me and Reggie Jackson, right? Now, obviously, it's not like today with the iPhones. You can't, like, see and be like, oh, well, let's take another one. So it's just like, okay, we got the picture. So we go home. We get the picture developed. And when we get it developed, there we are. There's me, my big cheese, and there's Reggie. And he's got chapstick, and he's putting chapstick on. He's about to put chapstick on. He doesn't really care. He's not even really looking at the camera. He's basically like, F you, kid. And but I thought it was cool anyway, okay? Because I'm there with a Hall of Famer. And so we get the picture blown up, all right? And we put it on my bedroom wall. And so my whole childhood, my entire childhood, all the way up until literally I left the house as, you know, I was still living in that house when I got drafted as a 21-year-old. And I always had the picture up. And so it kind of became this thing where it was kind of funny. Like at first I thought it was really cool. And then as I got older, like it was a thing. Anytime someone came in my room that hadn't been in there before, they're like, what the hell? Are you and Reggie Jackson? Like, what is this? He's putting chapstick on. So I have to tell him the story, and it was funny and everything. But I still thought it was cool. So anyways, that's my picture on my wall for a long time with Reggie Jackson. He completely big leagued me as a little kid. But I end up getting him back, kind of. So now, I'm like, I don't know how old I am, but I'm like 20, let's just say 26, 27. I'm playing with the Orioles. I'm in AAA with the Orioles. And I get sent over to the New York Yankees, okay? So I'm over with New York. They send me to AAA, okay? We go on the road right when I get over there. We're playing in, I think, Charlotte, I think we were. And so I'm hitting down in the cage. All right, so I'm hitting the batting cage, and all of a sudden, who comes walking over, but it's Reggie Jackson. So Reggie Jackson is like, I don't know his exact title, a special assistant to the Yankees or something like that. But I have not seen Reggie Jackson since I was that little kid a long, long time ago. And so he comes over and he's talking with guys hitting on the tee and stuff. And so I'm, at this point, I hit a little bit, then I go and sit with a bunch of other guys. And so I tell them the story. I'm like, hey, you guys want to hear something? Because they start kind of like talking about Reggie. And obviously he's a Hall of Famer, he's great. But, you know, he was talking to guys about certain things off the tee. And it was just funny. Like one of the things was, guy was hitting off the tee and the tee would move a little bit. And Reggie was like, hey, man, he's like, you hit off the tee, that tee shouldn't move anywhere. Like, you should be able to hit that ball every time and not even make contact with the tee and all this stuff. So, like, guys are kind of like laughing, like, it's not that easy for us, Reggie. We're not in the Hall of Fame, all this stuff. And so I was like, hey, you guys want to hear a story? And so I told them the story, and they all thought that was really funny, and they're like, no way, blah, blah, blah. So they're like, dude, like, so we go back into the clubhouse, and by the time I get in the clubhouse, not very long after that, guys are like all coming over to me. They're like, hey, man, like, that Reggie Jackson story true? Did he really do that to you, all this stuff? And I was like, yeah, absolutely, it's true, it's true. So it's like spreading throughout the whole clubhouse. Now all of a sudden, one of our coaches comes over. And he's like, hey, man, he's like, is this Reggie Jackson story true that everyone's saying? I'm like, yes, it's true. It happened to me when I was a little kid. I got the picture hanging on the wall. I'll have my parents send a picture of it to you or whatever. And he's like, dude, he's like, we got to get Reggie back for that. Like, that's messed up. And I was like, no, whatever. He's like, no, hold on 1 second, hold on. So he disappears. He comes back, and he's got a thing of chapstick in his hand. And he's like, listen to me. He's like, I'm going to get Reggie to come out here. You're going to take this chapstick. And when I say cheese, you put the chapstick up to your lip and look away and big league him. And I'm like, no chance am I doing this to Reggie Jackson. I've been on this team for like 3 minutes. He's a Hall of Famer. I don't even know the guy. I've never talked to him in my life. I'm not doing it. And he just walks away. So, and he gave me the chapstick. I got the chapstick. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, please don't come back. Please don't come back. So all of a sudden, like not very many seconds later, into the clubhouse comes our coach with Reggie Jackson, and the whole team is like gathering around. And he was like, he's like, hey, Reggie, we've got a player in this clubhouse right now. It's like a big announcement now for the team. And he's like, you know, and you were his favorite player, your favorite player of all time. And 20-something years ago, whatever, you're at the Baseball Hall of Fame, and you took a picture with this kid, and he put it on his wall. And he had it on his wall his whole entire childhood. And that kid is sitting right here in this clubhouse. He's right there, Matt Antonelli. And I'm like, oh, shit. And so I'm like, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you, Mr. Jackson. He's like, hey, he's like, and so our coach goes, you know, it would make his day if you could just take a picture with him so he can get another picture of you two together 25 years later, however, I forget how long it was. So Reggie's like, okay, yeah, sure thing. I'll do it, no problem. So everyone's like, yeah, all right, yeah. So we go over, and so we get next to each other, and I've got the chapstick in my hand, and so, like, you know, I kind of put my arm around them, and everyone's sitting back there behind the camera, behind Coach, and Coach is like, all right, ready, 1, 2, 3, he's like, cheese! And so when he says cheese, like, as he's counting, I'm kind of, like, trying to back up, because I'm like, if Reggie sees me put this chapstick on, like, he thinks this is serious, he's going to punch me in the face, like, what's he going to do? So I kind of slide back like this. He says cheese, and I put the chapstick up, and I look over here. We take the picture. Everybody clap. Yeah, all right, yeah. And so thank you so much. I really appreciate the picture. And Reggie's like, yeah, no problem, kid, or whatever. I was going to ask him for his autograph, but I didn't want to get, like, you know, I didn't want to, you got 50 bucks on you? At that time, I would have had 50 bucks, but as I was 27 now, but so I was like, thank you so much, and Reggie walks away, and then when he walks out and the door closes, everybody just starts dying laughing hysterically. They think it's really funny, and now I'm actually really glad that I did it, because now I have both my picture of me getting big leagued by Reggie, and then me big leaguing him, although he doesn't give a you know what, but still, it's still kind of funny for me to be able to do that 20-something years later. So that is my Reggie Jackson story. I've told that story a lot. Most people I tell it to either laugh really, really hard or think I'm lying until I have the pictures to show them, and then they just think it's really funny. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel, share the video with all your friends, all that good stuff. Go and check all our other Q&A questions out. I've got like thousands of them in our playlist. I've answered tons of questions, so definitely go and check that out. It'll probably keep you busy for like a couple of weeks, maybe a few months. And that's all we got. Thanks again for watching. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you later.